Hi, I'm Erin McGuire, energy wellness expert and mindset coach. And today I kind of wanted to ask you a question. Are you passive aggressive? And I can ask that question of you because I have certainly been passive aggressive in my life and still struggle with that at times in this moment today. So it's an important thing. And when I do my workshops with women and these bigger workshops that I do, I ask them, are you guys passive aggressive? Do you have these tendencies? And everybody says yes. I do think it's a bit of a Midwestern mentality. We have to be nice, don't step on anybody's toes, we have to kind of do things away. But I think globally, people can be passive aggressive because it can be hard to share when somebody else is upsetting you. And so what does passive aggressive look like? Well, I wanted to use an example from my life. And the first thing that kind of popped into my mind was, and I can think of a newer example, but this one just really hit me. When I was living in Los Angeles, I had a roommate, and she was a little bit more, she's from New York, and very kind of in your face. And I had just moved to Los Angeles from Iowa when she and I were living together. And I remember she had this huge closet in her bedroom. And I had this, I chose the room because I had moved from Iowa and gotten rid of a bunch of things, moved out in my car. I chose the room with a smaller closet. So she decided I could have the hall closet as well to put my stuff in. Well, over time, after living there for a while, I had bought some more clothes, obviously, and so I had started putting more and more things in that hall closet. Only to find one day that she'd put a bunch of stuff in there, and that really upset me. And instead of having a conversation with her, like, hey, remember when we had that agreement about me having this closet? I took everything down, all the clothes she had hung up, I took them down and laid them on top of a box inside the closet. And when she saw that, she had a huge hissy fit and flipped out and was just like, I can't believe you did that. You're so passive aggressive. And I'd never thought that about myself up until that moment. Again, I think being in the Midwest, we just think, well, this is how you do it. You don't tell people how you really feel because you don't want to upset anyone. And so that was a big aha moment for me, and also kind of just funny when you look back and think about the things that you do. So we resolved that issue, but needless to say, I moved out because things got even more out of control. We were just two very, very different people, if you wanted to know the end of that story. It did not end well either. It ended probably even more on me being passive-aggressive and her being very aggressive. Just straight up aggressive. So anyway, to sum this up, passive-aggressiveness comes from a place of, I'd rather be uncomfortable than make the other person uncomfortable. So a lot of times I talk to people that are highly sensitive people, or HSP, or also empaths. Empaths can have the ability to feel what other people are feeling. And so I feel like a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people are even more passive aggressive, because the thing is, we know how that other person's going to feel. We can predict how they're going to feel, and we know that they're going to feel some pain or discomfort around what we're about to tell them, that whatever they're doing isn't really working for us. And so we almost stop ourselves from doing it because we don't want them to be upset. And so, as I say, I'd rather be uncomfortable than make the other person uncomfortable, which is really not a good way to go about things, and it's very unloving to do to yourself, because it's really saying it's okay if I'm in pain. I just don't want anybody else to be in pain. And meanwhile, you're not getting treated the way you want to get treated, or agreements aren't being kept, or whatever the case is, and you're not feeling very good about it, and it's going to turn into resentment. And resentment, as I learned a while ago, resentment isn't about 9 times out of 10, resentment isn't about what the other person's doing. It's about resentment towards myself for not standing up for myself. So I just want you to think about that, and think about the behavior you have when you're being passive aggressive. You might be slamming things around, right? You might be huffing and puffing and not really doing that thing that's direct. It's like, hey, we had an agreement and you didn't listen to it. Or, hey, you're having a behavior that isn't really working for me. And so stay tuned for video 2 that's going to tell you how to set clearer boundaries and help you get over this passive aggressiveness that's going on. So now I'd like to hear from you. In what ways have you been passive aggressive? I kind of shared a story with you. I'd love to hear a story where you've been passive aggressive. Just own it. Just freaking own it. Put it out there so we can all just have a good laugh and let it go and bring more awareness to this issue of where we stop ourselves from really, truly, fully being who we are and speaking our truth. So yes, please share that below, and subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends. You can find me at purelightwellness.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Pure Light Wellness, and on Twitter, I am a soul on fire, and Instagram, Pure Light Wellness. So stay tuned for video number 2, and also if you want more information and a way to go deeper, I have 40 days of radical self-love online program I'd love to share with you, and you can find the link below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.